This is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNN.Live. We're coming to you from the 45th Annual New Orleans Investment Conference 2019 in New Orleans. With me today, Ian Slater, Libero Copper and Gold. Public company, two symbols, LBC on the TSX-V, LBCMF in the U.S. Ian, welcome to SNN.Live.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, it's great to see you again.
Yeah. Let's get started with an overview of the company, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Libero Copper was founded 3 years ago to accumulate copper, large porphyry copper assets in the Americas with my business partner, Leo Hathaway, who did that he was the VP Exploration for Lumina, all the Lumina copper stories. Currently, we have a large porphyry copper project in Colombia called Mocoa, in Colorado called Tomichi, and a gold exploration project in the Golden Triangle in British Columbia.
So, let's get a little history on the company.
Sure. Well, we founded this company together with Leo to recreate what Lumina Copper did. They in the last cycle, they acquired half a dozen copper assets in South America and sold them for $1.5 billion when the cycle changed. So that's what we're recreating. And we acquired our first project just a year ago, Mocoa, in Colombia, and then two or three more now in North America.
What would you say is Libero's competitive advantage?
Well, it's definitely the people. Between Leo Hathaway and Rob Pease, we have an unbelievable geology experience. These guys have done this before half a dozen times, where they've de-risked big copper projects sold to majors at the peak of the cycle. That's exactly what we're recreating.
And the districts you're in, economic, socio...
Yeah, where we are in Colombia, we're in the Jurassic Belt. Just across the border in Colombia is Cascabel, SolGold's Cascabel actually, but in that same belt is the Mirador project, which the Chinese railway company bought and built. So we're in exactly the right rocks. We have great metallurgy. We have no fatal flaws on the project at all, and great access to it. So it's exactly what majors want. And if you look at what's available for juniors in South America, there are hardly any large copper projects that are for sale. And this is one of the best ones. And then in British Columbia, we acquired this project just in the spring, and it had a lot of exploration in the 1960s, but no one had ever owned the entire project, and no one had ever compiled all of this data from 55 years of work. So once we put that all together, there were some unbelievable gold anomalies that were just begging for drilling and had never been drilled before. So we did work on the ground all this summer, and we got a few drill holes in before the weather changed, but we'll have those drill results in January, and we'll be back in July drilling it.
What's your background?
Oh, me? I'm actually an accountant. So I ran Arthur Andersen's natural resources practice in the Soviet Union in the 1990s.
So what led you to get into this full throttle in your own company?
Well, I was running Ernst & Young's Canadian mining practice, and about 10 years ago, I decided to go be an entrepreneur, and I've been accumulating assets ever since.
So let's go back to the Geos and let's talk about their experience a little bit.
Sure. Well, Leo it's really his idea, this company, and he's been driving it from day one. He's worked for 15 years now with Ross Beatty on all of the Lumina assets, the Lumina Copper whole story, and now Lumina Gold in Ecuador. So it's really Leo that's driving it, and he's an amazing geologist and great partner to work with.
So you're a public company, so only tell me what you can from press releases, etc. What are some growth drivers for the balance of 2019 into 2020?
Well, we're going to have all of our sampling, geophysical, and drill results from Big Red in British Columbia. So we'll have those results early in the year, and then we'll start drilling again in June, July. With Colombia, We've just got confirmation that there's no indigenous in our area of influence, so that we can drill without any issues. In Colombia, if you have indigenous in your area of influence, you have to go through a long consultation process, which we don't have to do. We've actually discovered a new soil anomaly just east of Mocoa that is actually higher grade than the soil anomaly that B2 drilled. So we have drill targets then for when the copper market turns.
So what kind of grade are you going after on the gold side?
Well, some of those sampling results. This was just reconnaissance, early stage reconnaissance sampling, but we had hundreds of meters of a few grams on outcrops.
Let's get your website out for more information, if you would.
Sure, it's liberocopperandgold.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Slater, Libero Copper and Gold, publicly traded company, LBC on the TSX-V, LBCMF in the U.S. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNN.Live, and we're coming to you live from the 45th Annual New Orleans Investment Conference 2019 right here in New Orleans. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks.